From a young age, he was fascinated by the heart, and his desire to kill grew stronger and stronger. His father had no choice but to send him to medical school, where he could have access to dissecting corpses to satisfy this special hobby of his. However, the corpses in the classroom had no blood at all. When dissecting corpses, Jack always felt that something was missing without seeing blood. His father hoped that his son would change in this environment. As a police officer who had arrested countless murderers, his father had long known about his son's psychological problems. He hoped that through dissecting corpses and other bloody activities, Nick's desire to kill would be reduced. However, as time passed, Nick gradually became unsatisfied with this. The next day, his father took him out hunting to relieve his desire. But not long after, his father suddenly felt discomfort in his heart. Nick immediately carried his father and rushed to the hospital. Although the rescue was timely and successfully saved his life, he still needed to be observed in the hospital for a few days. However, as time progressed, his father's condition worsened, and he was even in so much pain that he couldn't speak. Nick was anxious but helpless. However, while passing through the corridor that day, Nick discovered that the patient next door had died due to ineffective treatment. When the nurse was comforting the family, she should have felt sympathetic and sad, but she inadvertently revealed a satisfied smile. Jack, who often watched serial killer news, was very sensitive. His sixth sense told him that the other person might be of the same kind. So that day, while the nurse was away, he sneaked into her office. As a result, he found news clippings of dead people in a folder, including the recently deceased patient next door. He didn't expect that the other person also had a hobby of collecting works. Subsequently, Nick took the drug that the nurse injected into his father every day to the laboratory at his medical school for testing. Sure enough, he found potassium nitrate in it. This substance is easily absorbed by the human body after being diluted. Although a small amount of absorption will not have much impact, once injected multiple times for several consecutive days, it will become a lethal poison. Even experienced forensic doctors would have difficulty determining the cause of death of the victims. Nick could no longer suppress the killing desire in his heart, but he still needed someone to give him a push, and that person had to be his father, who had always been helping to suppress this desire. While the nurse was not paying attention, he quickly explained the situation to his father and refused the nurse's request for an injection. Seeing the ferocious look in her eyes, Nick breathed a sigh of relief. As a police officer, his father must have also noticed her ill intentions. Now, all Nick needed was that one word from his father. Perhaps his father realized that his son would sooner or later let himself go, so it was better to let him do something good while satisfying his desires. It was a win-win situation. After getting his father's consent, Nick was overjoyed. Later, Nick sneaked into the nurse's residence and wrapped the scene with plastic wrap to avoid getting blood everywhere when he unleashed himself, making it difficult to clean up. Now, everything was ready. Soon, the nurse came home from work. Nick rushed up to grab her, knocked her out, carried her to the bed, stripped her naked, and fixed her with plastic wrap. At this point, Nick was eager to start, but he still maintained restraint and waited for the nurse to wake up, because he wanted to feel what his favorite heart felt like when faced with fear.